Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome back to my Final Fantasy XI Let's Play. It's been quite some time since I recorded the last part, as it's been a little bit busy in my personal life as of late. No doubt some of you who follow me on socials will probably be hearing about that, potentially even before this video releases, but it's late on a Friday night. I don't really have anything going on, and so I figured, let me get a recording done. I actually need to bang a bunch of these out before 7.2 hits for 14, because let's be honest, between like Xenoblade 14, there's Berserker Con, there's Suikoden, there's the Lunar remasters, there's Claire Obscure, like, it's going to be a crazy next couple months. So I really got to be diligent. I think this weekend is going to be a big, like, bang out as many of these as I possibly can. And then even, like, next week, bang a bunch of these out and just, like, have them ready to go for, like, months on end. Again, I really want to do some Saturday uploads as well. So I'm thinking we're going to go on a bit of a binge here, recording-wise. But now back to the topic of the video. We've done a bunch of leveling in the last few spots, just kind of going over the historical locations, but one of the big things we need to do sooner or later is actually advance the story. Now, we're not too high of a level right now. We got to our mid-30s, I believe. Yeah, 34 in the last video, but that is more than enough to do the next ranked missions for Bastok. Now, I think we left off on having completed mission 2-1. Fortunately, we can just take a look here. I believe the crystal line is indeed mission 2-1, which means we should be able to do the Emissary quests, which asks us to go to the other two nations and complete an objective in each of them. We can kind of do this in any order. You can choose to get these things done kind of in any way. Like, I could choose to go to Windurst and then Sandoria, or Sandoria then Windurst. And honestly, regardless of which city-state you're starting in, this quest is pretty much identical between all three nations. There's just minor differences that you're going to have to do. So first, let me take a quick peek at the menu here. My rank points are all the way up to date. Figured that was going to be the case. So, we need to just accept the mission. You know, we should just go accept it in the Metalworks, because that's where we're going to have to go anyway. So we might as well do that. Yeah, so we've just kind of been wandering the last few parts, and as such, I would like to get a little bit more focused. Now, that being said, I will heavily advocate for trying to do as much leveling as possible before doing much else if you are revisiting Final Fantasy XI Retail after not having played for quite some time. It just makes more sense. You can do the stories a lot more freely. You can choose to go do chains. You can choose to blast through the story here to get the Xylar. And then even when you get the Xylar, realistically, it can be kind of scary even at 99. Even just one particular part of it, but it can even be scary at 99. Y'all know which part I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Archangels, but, you know, we're going to get to that sooner or later. You know what I'm saying? But mission 2-3, even if you're only like level 25, mission 2-3 is doable. After this, I'd say the level requirement, or the recommended level, kind of goes up considerably. You can get through mission 3-1 pretty quick, but mission 3-3, the higher level you are for that one, the better. So, we are going to grab the quest, the Emissary. Now, keep in mind, we are technically skipping mission 2-2. Which I believe is Wading Beasts. Now, I can't remember the last time I even did it. Yes, Wading Beast is mission 2-2. So if you want to do that in-between mission that is skippable, you totally can, but it's realistically only there alongside the Fetishism quest to provide you a means of earning rank points without using crystals. And that's just kind of a waste. There is also the record of eminence for Wading Beasts, which isn't that important, but it is a little bit. It's definitely not time effective, but like if you have the intense desire to just completely wipe out all of your records of eminence, don't feel bad stopping and doing that when you just won't get much out of it in terms of story. So, the Emissary. You've acquired quite a reputation. I don't remember the voices I did for these characters other than Sid, so you're gonna be working with me here. There's a new mission for you to tackle. First, speak to Sir Naji at the Mithril Musketeers at the President's office. This mission is of great import to the welfare of our nation. Will you accept? Yes. Hi, Naji. I kind of remember his voice. Good to see you again. I hear you're going overseas. Usually I'd be giving you your orders, but this time the President's aide wants to meet with you in person. I don't know if the missions you've been on so far were tough for you, but this time I'm sure it's going to be a real challenge. I'd say a fair warning, actually, especially for a new player back in the day. Not nowadays, but back in the day, he'd be right. I mean, you're going to have to go to both Santoria and Windurst. It's not like going somewhere nearby, like Gustavberg or Kronstadt. You'll have to travel by sea, too. No, I won't, as you'll see in this video. This is the President's room. Remember to be polite. Oh, and make sure you don't say anything that might offend him. He's really touchy. Ah, we've been expecting you. I remember meeting you after your first mission. Let me introduce you. This is Sir Karst.
Ah, President Karst. This is how you will address me. Lucius, what was it about a first mission?
The report from Zerun Mine, sir. About the Tailkeeper.
Those Galka again. I was not informed you had met with the messenger, Lucius.
I do not feel it was necessary to bother you with such trivial matters, sir.
President Lucius.
Yeah, he kind of a jerk. Nobody likes Karst. My apologies. I'm sorry for not having informed you about the Galka, Mr. President. No matter. Here are your orders.
Oh, here are your orders. As you know, there are 3 other nations aside from our own in Vanadil. The Kingdom of Sandoria, the Federation of Windurst, and the Grand Duchy of Juno. Juno is still professing neutrality, so I want you to go to Sandoria and Windurst. Does not matter which you go to first, as long as you go to both. We'll give you a letter of introductions, which you will present to the consuls in both nations. Any questions?
Nope. Now, if you're new, you could ask all of these, but we know the answers. Why am I being sent? What do I do once I get there? How do I get there? Where? I'm going to teach you these 2, so definitely skip that. So yeah, no questions.
Good. Lucius, the letter.
This is your letter of introduction. Present it to the consuls, and they will give you further instructions.
Those are your orders. Depart quickly. You are dismissed.
What is this? A matter of import unrelated to the previous incidents you were involved in? You seek Lion. Of course, I know her.
The one who strong-armed her way in here seeking an audience, right?
That's right.
I remember Lucius speaking with her a great deal.
Quadav's this, Quadav's that. 'Tis a wonder I do not pass out from the tiresome repetition. Simply would not do for me to trouble the President with this matter, so I answered her to the best of my ability.
And what's your connection with her? And you expect she could provide you the answer. Unfortunately, you will not find her here.
My understanding is that she departed some time ago, bound for either Windurst or Sandoria.
Perhaps you will come across her in the course of your activities.
Oh, will we? We sure will. So how'd it go? The President nag at you? I still can't believe that Chief Sid actually backed that guy during the elections. Oops, you didn't hear that from me, okay? I gotta go. Good luck on your mission. Alright, so we now have the free option of going to either Sandoria or Windurst first. Now, we are going to go to Sandoria first, but we are not going to be taking the traditional manner. Now, if you pull up your map, or if you had actually listened to the description that he would give you, or you've listened to me, I think I mentioned it in the previous part, you would travel from Gustavberg up through Kronstadt and through Valgrim Dunes, into the Lethene Plateau. Lethene Plateau, basically the Kronstadt Highlands equivalent next to Sandoria. You then make your way up to Ronfauer. You would go into West Ronfauer and zone into Sandoria. Now, we're not going to do any of that. Keep in mind that if at this point, I've taken you to Valgrim Dunes, and that's halfway there. You could go through Valgrim Dunes and then walk through Lethene Plateau. But I have been very negligent about showing you all alternate means of getting around. I think maybe I've shown you once. Honestly, I've kind of forgotten. But we are going to take a Unity Warp. Now, like I said, I'm pretty sure I've Unity Warped before for all of you, but the gist of it is we can just go to East Ronfauer immediately using the Unity Warp. So, let's head over here into the Bastock Markets, go to where you unlock Unity, and yes, I still won't have Aparuru in this video. Listen, I'm sorry. I got other things going on. Aparuru's on the back burner. I'll have her one day. Oh, you know what I should check real quick? I have a ton of crystals and random items from the recent videos. Let me just vendor those real quick. Let's just get rid of a few. Let's get rid of some of these. Let's get rid of some of this meat. That doesn't vendor 2 I should also maybe grab an updated dagger. In fact, I will. Twin thread obi, not very good. Neither is this. Not for what we're doing right now. We're going to get rid of the rock salt, and we are going to get rid of... I know it seems like sacrilege to get rid of beehive chips and bone chips to the classic players. The beehive chip's kind of a dumb thing to get rid of, but whatever. And I know I've said we've sold these before, but honestly, more interested in clearing the inventory at the moment. We do also have a goblin helm. Now, beastman items are both interesting and annoying. I tossed it because essentially beastman items, people used to buy those in order to desynthesize them. Not to synthesize them into something else, but to break them down into just raw materials, because that's pretty much their purpose. That being said, they can't be sold at vendors. So your option is to sell them, desynthesize them, or just destroy them like that. I'm going to opt to destroy them. We don't want the Amon Validator. Although, interesting thing. So, this is an NPC most of you will have zero concern about. But there's a Records of Eminence that gives you monthly objectives. I'll pull it up right now. And these monthly objectives give you deeds. Now, you can get up to 40 deeds per month. And as you pick up deeds, the Amon Validator will give you some pretty amazing rewards. Like, there's some insane stuff here. I'm not going to go through all of it. But you literally need, like, years of your life to get through this stuff. I think you need a year straight to get through, like... There's some really good stuff in, like, the first year, and then there's still, like, more stuff afterwards. But let me... If you do play long enough to do monthly objectives, and you do continue playing, I'd say do them. But relatively speaking, you probably won't play long enough for that to matter. But if you do, it's totally worth doing. So those monthly... The thing is, those monthly objectives are, like... max level objectives, maybe minus 1 or 2 usually, but yeah. So we are going to use the Unity Warp. We're going to go to Ghelsba, and we are... I don't know what level this is. Is it content level? Yeah, it's content level 99 and below. And we will go to East Ronfire. It's going to cost us a little bit of Unity accolades, but we have plenty of those, so we have nothing to worry about. And what do you know? We're right outside of where we need to be. Now, I actually don't remember exactly where this puts me. I think it puts me near Rangumont Pass. Oh, no, it actually puts me right by West Ronfire. So, I'm going to make a small detour, only because I want to tell you a story. So, what I should be doing is just going east and then north. That would be the smart thing to do. But there's a part of me that can't help but go to West Ronfire and look for a certain monster. There is also a book here. Is there a book here? There's no book here, right? Yeah, there's no book here. There's also a survival guide in West Ronfire, so totally worth going out of your way to go get it. I think there's also one in King Ramper's tomb, which is just to the south of me at the moment in East Ronfire. But not important to get that now. I mean, the Unity Warp takes you right next to King Ramper's tomb, so when you have to go back there eventually, you'll just Unity Warp there, and all should be honky-dory. But West Ronfire... So in one of the earlier parts, you remember me hunting Leaping Lizzie. I have the boots. I didn't get the... yes, I know. I didn't get the dagger, by the way. I apologize. I'm an idiot. We probably won't need it. In fact, we won't need it. But I should have grabbed it all the same. Not like it would be hard to go back and get it. But you remember me camping Leaping Lizzie and getting those boots, right? I said it's one of the most notorious, low-level, like, notorious monsters that you could fight. One of the most valuable items. One of the most sought-after, botted. And that is true. And that's because they actually dropped at a reasonable pace. However, I will say that there is another one out here, Jaggedy-Eared Jack. He's a rabbit. He spawns just a little bit west of here whenever he is actually around. And yeah, he drops a neck piece that is probably one of the most sought after. Well, it used to be one of the rarest and most sought after items. Even though, like, it was really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna knock the rabbit charm, but realistically, there wasn't a whole lot of player power behind it. I think it's like steel +1. And I just wanted to take a quick peek to see if he was up. I don't want to camp him. I don't even want to kill the placeholders, to be honest. But you never know when, like, maybe a low-level player walks by and they just happen to have killed it. Besides, we have to walk right through, like, literally right here is where you would see Jaggedy Ear Jack if he was up. We have to walk right through it anyway. I think there's a trick to finding his placeholder. I think there's like 4 forest hares or something that are all grouped together here. Yeah, I think these... No, it can't be these 4 because there's one all the way to the north. I could have swore there was like a batch of them. But we had to come over here to grab the survival guide. Free teleport. Probably won't use that one very often, but better to have it. What if I decide to come back and camp Jaggedy Ear Jack, or Jedge, as we called him. J-E-J. Good old Jedge. Ugh. That's like a bad nickname from, like, high school. No, nobody called me Jedge in high school. That's not the point. Now, I'm also being dumb because, you know what we did in the previous parts? We got a mount. And, yeah, it kind of works everywhere. Now, where is it? Here we go. Listen, sometimes old habits die hard. But yes, we are going up to Sandoria, and we are going to do the first leg of this quest. It is actually going to ask us to go up into the outpost for the orcs. So we went into the Palborough mines for an earlier video, and now we're going to have to go up into Ghelsba Outpost, which is the orc equivalent over in Sandoria of Palborough mines. Same level enemies, same threat. We are level 34 now, so realistically nothing in there will be a threat, especially with trusts. Pretty good leveling spot. Also used to be a spot where you could probably have caught me like farming a bunch of stuff like way back in the day, especially from some of the orcs, but I was also addicted to the idea of small gates. Okay, so by the way, just to be clear, I did read the comments from the previous one that said that I should probably turn the tunes down. So I did. And yet I can't help but feel like the mount music is still way too loud. And I have talked about this on stream before. There are just some of the newer tracks are just a billion times louder. Now, most people were talking about the battle music being really loud. That's true. That's true also. But mount music and some of the new content music is also just... I think it's because it was like made with like modern tech, and like they just like I mean, you think that modern tech has volume controls, but it's, I don't know, it's weird. So like that was really loud. So it made me think of it. I'm actually gonna turn it down slightly more. I hate turning it down because like it's Final Fantasy 11 music, right? Like I don't wax nostalgic about going back to the old days, like, oh, they should just make all MMOs like this, and you're like, I'm not one of those. But I'm never going to knock Final Fantasy XI's music. I'm never going to try to, like, undermine it. You know what I mean? So turning it down feels like sacrilege. But for the sake of the recording, I got to do what I got to do. You know? Now, I believe we're also going to get a trust here. We have Valeniral, so I don't really think we need anything. I don't think anything's that important. But I think we should be fine. It does say that there's a certain mission required for Rhapsodies. Are we on that mission? I think we actually need to do Path Untraveled in order to actually get any more ciphers.
Who said you could go in there? Get back here, scum.
If you've no business here... Oh, did I forget to talk to somebody before I left? Oh, no. Oh, I'm so stupid. I skipped a step. You gotta go to the consulate. Yeah, every city has a consulate as well. They're the one that gets you permission. You will very rarely actually ever have to come to the consulate. Definitely not something that's like second nature for me to think about, because you visit it for this and like a couple, like another mission or two. You're here with business for the administration, correct? You should probably talk to Consul Helaku. Really? Really? You don't say. Thank you! You come all the way from Bastok, have you? I'm Line, a traveling adventurer, you might say. Have you heard? The orcs have a new forward base in Ghelsba to the northwest. Now their greedy eyes are turned towards this land. Orcs are cruel and violent. They attack wayfarers on the road and steal children, all to inspire terror in the Sandorian people. But there's one thing that just doesn't make sense. Orcs never were known for their craft, but they carry even better armor and weapons lately. I suspect there's someone behind the orcs, pulling the strings, if you get me. Someone has to figure out their plans to take action before this country falls to an orcish invasion. People whisper in the streets of trouble in the royal house. They should focus on what's outside their walls first, if you ask me. And walks away. Doesn't even say goodbye. Just walks away. Oh, never mind. Well, I don't expect things to be getting any easier around here for a while yet. But you take care, all the same. Good thing she remembered me on the way out. I would have been sad otherwise. There's something else. You say my father told you to seek me out. I'm trying to figure out as much as I can about the strange portals that link our Vana'diel to another dimension. But we've got other problems to deal with first. Let's worry about it once we've finished our current mission. I'll meet you at the Crag of Hala in Lathine Plateau once we've got that burden off our shoulders. Or we should catch up at Demermay, if that's preferable to you. Remember to see the missions posted to you by your home nation to completion first, though. So, that is actually a Rhapsodies of Vana'diel addition to this cutscene. It basically acts as a reminder to do this before we continue Rhapsodies of Vana'diel. Let's see. And now we need to talk to Hilaku. Hello, sir.
Hello there. I'm the consul from Bastok. Name's Hilaku. You must be tired from your trip.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I've never really paid attention to Hilaku's face because it's like the only time in the whole game you'll see him. My man looks like an NPC out of like Majora's Mask, I swear.
But first, let me get you up to speed on the situation here in Sandoria. Northwest of the city is an orc village. They call it the Ghelsba Outpost. Our reports tell us that the orcs are using Ghelsba as a forward base for an upcoming invasion of Sandoria. But there's a few things that just don't fit. We all know that orcs are beastmen, right? To say that they're low on brains would be an understatement. Which is why I wonder how they came to have high-quality armor and weapons they've been using. Not to mention the ranged weapons and devices. We suspect there's someone behind the beastmen calling the shots, but we've no idea who. I wish I could send you to Ghelsba immediately, but in this region, official missions require Sandorian approval. What I want you to do is go to Chateau de Orgueil, which is not how that's said, by the way, and speak to Monarles Halver. He'll issue a formal mission order. Leave this building, and you'll see a giant fortress to the right. That's Chateau de Orgueil. And be polite. Sandorians can be quite touchy.
Touchy? Ugh. Stay away from me. No touch. No touch. Yes, forgot to do that first. Alright. I just want to keep a little bit more of an eye on the clock today than I normally do because, oh, let's get this home point. Yeah, I should absolutely get home point crystals here. This is not the only one. I walked right by one earlier as I was going to the chateau. And now we'll grab one. I know it seems kind of redundant for them to be kind of as they are, but it is what it is. As you can see, quite the popular location. I forgot what NPC Trisvane is. I don't quite remember.
If you've no business here, be gone.
Well, I do have business here, so see you later. Alright, so we gotta talk to Halver. Now, if you're ever having trouble finding an NPC, by the way, while most of the guides that you can reference will see, like, hey, this NPC is at this location, keep in mind, you can wide scan an NPC. I think I mentioned this in an earlier part. And while it's not the greatest, obviously he's right here, so it's not important at all. It's not the greatest, it at least gets you going in the right direction.
An adventurer from Bastok, are you? You have my respect for coming all the way here. But you know this, our kingdom of Sandoria has no intention of showing a friendly facade to either Bastok or Windurst. How you classless mobs could ever think to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Alban is frankly beyond me. Yet on you come, impertinent stuttering shrimps, lumbering oarheads, purring furballs. It's simply unacceptable. But enough of that. Here is your mission. Infiltrate Ghelsba Outpost northwest of Sandoria. In the middle of the Ghelsba camps is a place called the Highland Encampment. We want you to defeat the camp head, a Warchief Vatgit. You'll find the encampment a little ways into Ghelsba. Go in, cross the river, you'll see camps up on a ridge to the east. When you're finished, if you aren't orc fodder, report back to your own consulate. We don't take kindly to foreigners loitering around the chateau, if you get my meaning. The orcs aren't so much of a problem that the kingdom need worry about sending out knights. Let the adventurers clean them up for pocket change. That is our policy. Look as if I asked you to capture a ghost with naught but a paper bag. I must admit that the Consulate of Vaslak has filed a formal complaint about me issuing demand edicts to those who are not yet ready. But if there were more capable personnel around, perhaps I would not have to. Let me give you something to further the cause. I think this is a cipher. Yep. He literally, I like that he gives it to you as part of the quest. Like, they just added it to his dialogue. I'd have to go trade that in. There is an NPC, obviously, to do that here. Don't really care. I'll just do it at some point, but it will take up an inventory slot, just like the other ones. That cipher is going to take up a spot. You know what's funny? Halver is literally the polar opposite personality when you start interacting with him at later points. That it's always shocking to me how much he down talks you here. It just surprises me. It really shouldn't, but you know. Alright, so we have to go beat Warchief Vatgit. So, in case you're wondering why I chose Sandoria before Windurst, truth be told, it's the order I did it in when the game came out in NA. I officially started playing in, like, the early summer of 2004, because I got it in 2003, but I thought I needed a broadband internet connection at the time, when, believe it or not, this game, even on the PS2, ran on AOL dial-up. Yeah, as soon as I figured that out, I finally, like, set it up after months and months and months of having it and just being told, you know, like, hey, you gotta wait, we get a better internet. Like, we're not upgrading our internet yet, like, we just can't afford it. Even though my family had told me we were going to, like, and that was part of the reason they got to me. You know, things change, whatever, you know. As a kid, you may not understand that as well. But, you know, now I get it, you know, like, it doesn't, you can say you want to do something, but life just doesn't always work out that way. Trust me, I know that more than anyone right now. But yeah, I ended up, you know, it took me till 6 a.m. to install it, and then I played it for a couple hours. I went to sleep at like 8 a.m. in the middle of summer. So, yeah, but this is the order I did the quest in way back when, so... it's not. I've done it in the other order. I think once just to see how it's like. I know how it's different off the top of my head. That you have to kill like 2 Yagados in like the under section of Giddeus, which is where we'll be going next. And often you end up walking by those monsters if you take a wrong turn now anyway. So we might even see those 2 monsters that we needed to defeat on that side. But this is the way I want to do it. So that's what we're doing. Now Warchief Vatgit. In all honesty, I could probably beat him without trusts, but we're going to summon trust. I do want to show you a few little fun bits about Ghelsba Outpost, though, because there are some things in there that I would say as a newer player, I spent far too much time doing. There's notorious monsters in there and rare spawns in there that used to have pretty valuable drops, and if not, just like passable loot. Like... that you could sell for maybe 10k, 15k. And I would honestly spend a lot of time in Ghelsba just trying to farm these items just to make a little bit of money. A lot of like methods in the early game were not wholly efficient. This one is probably one of the less efficient ones I did. One of the most efficient ones, which shouldn't have been most efficient because honestly it was stupid that I did it at all. Over in the Windurst area in Saruda Baruda, there's a whole bunch of towers, the Horutoto Ruins. And in one of them, it literally is just like, I think 8 small rooms across a hallway.
And every 15 minutes, one of 4 things spawns in those hallways. Either a regular old bomb, a bomb king, or these 2, like, undead enemies called the Doppelganger Dio and Doppelganger Gog. Now, while I've talked about things like lottery spawns, for example, right? Where it's like, oh, you kill the monsters and then there's a chance that another monster will appear. Like, I've explained how that... And I've said that that's not how all of them work. In the case of Bomb King, Gog, Dio, and that bomb, basically it was like a 25% chance for any one of them to appear on any given attempt going through. So I would literally go there, camp the Bomb King, which dropped the Bomb Ring. The Bomb Ring gives a pretty decent HP boost at this level. And so I would just try to get the Bomb Ring. I would, in the 15 minutes it takes them to respawn, run back to Windurst. Now, we can't use the raptor in here, by the way, because it's a dungeon, so we do have to walk. I would go back. I would put it on the market board. I would go back and try to get another. Effectively, some days I would walk away with like 4, 5, 6 bomb rings, and they sold well. They were pretty valuable. But you were only allowed to hold 1 at a time. So I had to do that if I want to do it. Doppelganger Dio and Doppelganger Gog, they had items that sold decently enough. I think it was like a spear and like one other thing. This is not the correct way, by the way. I have to go down a narrow path. I think it's right over here. Yeah. And so, like, I would also try to sell those in a similar fashion, but I was really there for the bomb ring. And yeah, I actually made a ton of money doing that. I was shocked. And that was actually the item where I finally learned how the auction house actually worked. I think I called it the market board earlier. I've described it as, you're effectively putting it up for a minimum bid. I didn't understand that yet. My 13-year-old brain just didn't get it. So what happens is it tells you that you have to pay a minimum tax to place the item up on the board, on the auction house. And I would just see that number, and I would be like, oh, it's telling me to put that number in, and then that's my cost of listing it, and it's making me manually pay that. Because I was like, oh, I'm just playing a game that makes you manually do shit all the time. So I was putting items up for, like, really low value, and finally a bomb ring sold for a really, really low amount, and I figured it out. At that point, it just kind of, like, it snapped in me, like, oh, and it only happened on the one bomb ring. Now I get it. That's telling me the cost, but I'm still putting, genuinely how it happened in my brain. So the bomb ring, I sold enough of them to the point where that mistake happened, and I went. Now, back to what we're doing here. The dude told me how to get there, and as you can see, I have subsequently ignored exactly the instructions he gave me on how to get to Warchief Vatgit. Now, technically, this will eventually lead me to him, but I mentioned there were a couple of monsters, like I said. That was where that whole story began, that had incredibly valuable drops. Now, one of them we won't see, unless somebody else came down here, which I'm not going to lie, this area, this entire area down here, is basically like, it's not off the map, but it might as well be, because it's just so far out of the way, and there's really no reason to be down here most of the time. I think there's even another notorious monster that they added down here at some point. And we need to get up. I forgot where the ramp to get up is. I don't think it's over here. I think it's back the other way. It's been a while. Yeah, we need to get up. I don't think it was right when I dropped down. Actually, it might have been. That's kind of ringing bells for me. That it was, it didn't really look like an on-ramp, but I think it was. Because I remember getting back up onto land pretty quickly when I came down this way. And I don't remember going all the way over here, so I'm going to double back. Don't worry, they don't it's an old game, but they don't trap you down here with zero way out. I know it's almost believable that the game would do that, but I promise you that's not the intent. Here we go. We can get up here. This works. Alright, so we cross this bridge, and we go this way, if I could get up on these logs. And let me just do this real quick. Take a peek around. Oh my goodness, there's so many things on that. So, On the right-hand side, coming up, there's going to be like a pillar, and there's going to be a tiny camp of orcs. One of those orcs is a paladin-type mob, and that is the placeholder for a notorious monster. Again, I doubt the monster itself will be up, and we're not camping it. I'm not spending 15 minutes. It's like a 12 or 15-minute spawn to kill this guy. But I'll go take a quick peek. Yeah, it's in this little, like, camp right here is where he spawns, if he spawns at all. If he's here, I'll kill him real quick, but I doubt it. He's not the grunt. I think, actually, so he just kind of spawns around here. I think the neck chopper might be the it's either the grunt or the neck chopper is the placeholder. But he spawns right there. The other mobs are actually very likely to be up, because they're actually just common mobs. Sometimes in 11, there are monsters that are not notorious monsters, but they're just given rare loot, and they just spawn infrequently. Usually, again, about a 15-minute respawn. Things like the Bomb King. There's another one we'll have to walk past at some point in Ordell's Cave. Classic 11 players know what I'm referring to. But both of these, there should be... Oh, no. I think there's a wall breacher and a barricader in here. I think there's also a chance for an actual notorious monster to spawn in here that's unrelated to this. And I think it's a lantern shield, which would actually be not bad for me at all. Lantern shield would be awesome for that. But like I said, we're not farming it. I just wanted to come in here, give it a quick peek. No such luck. That's perfectly fine. We're going to leave. Fortunately, there is a very quick path out. But yeah, that lantern shield, I definitely tried getting that for quite some time. I don't remember which of the two it dropped off of, but I swear there's also a notorious monster equivalent that can spawn in there as well. But that's, you don't need the notorious... My memory's still a bit iffy on it, but like, I'm sure I could pretty quickly fill in the gaps. Of course I could just Google it, but you know. You know, I act like just Googling is not an answer. Like, I don't just have a wiki page up on the side right now. I told you, you're always going to have a wiki page up on the side. Just in case you need it. And if you're new, you will. Alright, I think we just go this way. If you're a really low level, but I forget what level these toadstools are, but if you're a lowish level, these toadstools actually really good cave to level in. But I'm talking about like really low. Like I'm talking about like level like 10. Probably. Alright, so we go up here. This puts us back on the main-ish path of where we wanted to be. As you can see, there's that right there. I think these stone launchers also technically have I think they also have a decent item. And now we just head on up. And we're not too far from Warchief Vatgit. Alright. Yep, so this is how you know you're going the right way in here, these bridges. If you're ever wondering, am I going the right way? You are looking for these bridges. Now, I am going to apologize in advance if I occasionally go a little quiet. I mentioned earlier in the video, I've had some things going on in my life. And sometimes said thing springs up in the middle of me working on something. It's actually been a big problem with getting me to work on things as of late. It happens, though, so if I just go quiet for a bit, it probably means I'm answering something, but still just moving forward. I know it's not great for the recording, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I really don't want to put off. So that was Warchief Vatgit, by the way. Remember when I said trusts will make this really easy? Yep. I think I walked by the, what is it called? The survival guide here. We have another option, and I'm actually going to take the other option. Normally, I would say, you know, let's just walk back down, or even let's warp out. Like, getting back here is not that big a deal, in all honesty. Like, I took the long route, and it didn't take that long. However, Ghelsba Outpost is actually 3 separate zones. It is Ghelsba Outpost, Fort Ghelsba, and the You Got Grotto. And on top of that, there's then a 4th zone in there where you can fight bosses. I think I've mentioned BCNMs before. I mentioned them when we were going through Palborough Mines, I'm pretty sure. That being said, there is a home point next to the final zone in here, which is through, you guessed it, Fort Ghelsba. There are also more notorious monsters that we could technically find along the way, and while I would prefer to get over to Windurst and finish all of 2, 3 in one video, I'm going to take this out. I think there might also be a survival guide here somewhere. No, I think it would show up. Wait, there is. Okay. In fact, this might have been the survival guide. Yes, in fact, I don't think there was a survival guide at the other spot. I think this is what I was looking for. So we are actually going to just leave here so we can make sure that we get this done quickly. Now, I did not pick up any survival guides in Sandoria. That's my fault. I just focused on the mission. But who cares? Yes, we'll go back to Vatgit and we'll warp from there. Alright, responded to what I needed to respond to. Now, I could go get a weapon. Or we could just accept I'm going to mow through this mission anyway, because trusts are OP. We're going to do option 2. It's just, I started recording this late. You know, I was like, oh, okay, it's nighttime. Maybe it'll be peaceful right now. And here we are. So we have to go back to the Consulate, specifically. And then we can head off to Windurst. And guess what? We can get to Windurst the same way that we did to Sandoria. We can take a Unity warp over to Issaruda. Now, in honesty, at some point we have to do a video of how you would have normally gotten to Windurst, because I know it's what the longtime fans would have wanted, and it's an interesting piece of history. With the way you used to... I'm not going to say you had to get to Windurst that way, because it's inaccurate to say that. But you used to have to take a boat, and I will continue this story after I speak to Hilaku. Welcome back. You didn't get hurt, did you? Mondelez Halvar tells me you went to defeat Warchief Vatgit, eh? A lot of adventurers make their way into the Outpost, but most turn around once they get up to the higher encampment. Well, you've done a great job. As Consul, I'm honored to congratulate you on a mission well done. I'll be sure Sandoria makes you a certified adventurer, let's say. Now that that's settled, your next goal is Windurst. It's a wild world out there, so keep your wits about you. Alright, so that's the first leg of the Emissary quest completed. And, yeah, so there's a boat that you can take from Selbina to Mohara. Selbina, the port that is most easily accessible for both Sandoria and Vatgit because it's in Valkyrie Dunes. That takes you over to Mohara, which is the nearest port to Windurst. Now, you could also technically run all the way to Juno and then run all the way to Windurst and never take the boat. But almost every new player, I promise you, took the boat. And that boat is full of nightmares and disasters, especially if you're a low-level character. There's literally a boss that can spawn there called the Sea Horror. Not only can it just spawn there and easily just kill people, because, like, people will... So you start below deck, and you have to go above deck. And when you're going above deck, there's a door, and you have to get close enough to open the door. And sometimes Sea Horror is just on the other side. You actually have to kind of get used to the idea of trying to target monsters through doors to scout where they are before going through to the other side. Because that can get you killed a lot when you're a low level, especially, well, I mean, not nowadays, but like back in the day, that would get you killed super easily. People could also, I believe, fish up the Sea Horror. They were mostly fishing up sea monks. But yeah, there's just a lot of enemies there that could just potentially murder a new player. The Sea Horror most notably among them. Okay, so we took the thing over to Saruda. Where are we? Bro, I hate being colorblind. I have no... Okay, there I am. I couldn't see myself. Okay, next notorious monster story. Again, we're not going to camp it, but I am going to go check for it. So you saw me kill crawlers, and I mentioned crawler silk and all that when we were going up through. There's also a notorious monster here called Spiny Speepy. Spiny Speepy is basically the Leaping Lizzie slash Jaggedy Ear Jack equivalent, and it can spawn amongst a bunch of crawlers right up here. Now, somebody has to be killing the crawlers, and I mean, while there has been an upsurge of new players, it's unlikely that Spiny Speepy is alive. But it doesn't hurt to check. It drops a cape that's actually pretty good. And so if it were to be alive and we were to get the cape, I mean, I don't have a cape equipped right now, so I definitely wouldn't complain. But it would appear that it is not alive. Now, there is a survival guide. However, it is in West Saruda, and we are actually not going to go get that first because we will have to pass through West Saruda in order to get to Giddeus, which is where the next quest will be. But first, we have to head over to Windurst. Now, for me, Windurst is the most confusing one to navigate. It is just, there's a lot of zones. Some of the zones are split. And honestly, the names of the zones just kind of suck. It's like Windurst Walls, Windurst Woods, Windurst Waters. One of those is split into two. And then Port Windurst. The port's the easiest one to identify. But the other one, as somebody who started in Bastok and has never spent an elongated period of time in Windurst, unless I have to for a quest, it has never stuck to me. All of the alliteration, I just forget. They're like, oh, go to the walls. Okay. I don't know which ones those are, so I hope I have a home point there. Well, nowadays I can say that. Back in the day, I couldn't just look for the home point. I would just be like, I guess I hate myself now. And that's the end of that. Alright, let's see. Go down through there. Where am I going? I have to go to... Oh, okay. The Consulate is in Port Windurst, and then I have to go to Heaven's Tower in Windurst. Okay, that's how you remember Windurst Walls. It's the one with Heaven's Tower. That's honestly as good as it's going to get. I guess that also means I actually know a bunch of quests that are in the walls then off the top of my head. Because I just remember what the maps look like. I honestly don't remember what the zones like the names. Again, the names just disappear for me. Oh, by the way, yes, I'm being stupid again. I was so busy looking at my phone to check on something that I did forget to use my Raptor again. Listen, maybe I'm just doing it like the old days. I'm being old-fashioned, that's all. Maybe I'm just being old. Playing Final Fantasy 11 in 2025. I think that's just being old at this point. That's a field manual. Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, the survival guide will be in Western Saruda. That should be fine. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Well, I don't know why I'm still singing the old song. Windurst Woods. I'm trying to remember if there's ever like other missions that are gonna like boot up. Oh, there's a home point. Let's not make that mistake again. Registered a new home point. Oh, look at that. I got all these people. Oh yeah, I wanted to see what the sea all looks like. Actually, I'm not tapped into the game, so 1546, not bad. Yeah, there's just been a ton of, like, new player symbols around. I mean, we've noticed it in the previous parts. But right now, while I'm playing this, it's the last few days of the discount campaign that 14 is doing with with Final Fantasy 11. So I was curious to see on a Friday night if people had lives or not. Not like me, I don't. I'm here. I'm here right now recording this on a Friday night. So, you know, that says all it needs to say. But, you know, it's, at least I get to release this on a Wednesday and spend all the time with you. Listen, nah, I don't mind. I got anything going on, so, you know, what I'm going to do. I'm going to play some Final Fantasy 11. It's like 9:46 right now. That's actually late for me. I'm normally in bed by like 10:30. I'll obviously be a little bit over that tonight, but oh no, I'm gonna be past curfew. My old man body, how will it recover? It's funny, I went to stretch and my sternum cracked. You're getting a nice sternum stretch. I love a nice sternum stretch. So the Consulate of Bastok should be right, yep, there. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's on the western side. Let's do that. Oh, so I guess I shouldn't probably start a story. I'm about to have to voice act characters terribly again. So I'd have to interrupt myself. I'll say what I was going to say afterwards. It's those furnaces we passed by, which we passed by a handful of times, mind you. I don't know if I've mentioned the synergy furnaces yet, but they reminded me of something that I would like to share. But first, hiya, this is the Consulate of Bastok. It's a little piece of Bastok that's like, I like how this guy is the same model as the actual consulate in the other location. And this guy also doesn't introduce me because there's no Rhapsodies of Manadil. Hello, Melek. I am Melek, Consul of Bastok. I trust you had a safe sail here. So you are Pletse. I heard about your activities in Sandoria and am expecting great things from you here too. Well then, we should get straight to the matter at hand. Gold Skull, why don't you start by informing our fair citizen here about what the mission involves?
Allow me to explain. The mission from our comrades in Windurst entails the extermination of a giant monster that appeared in the depths of Giddeus, the borderland to the theocracy of the Yagudo Beastmen. You are to receive a key item from the Heavens Tower in the Windurst Walls district and head to the innermost part of Giddeus. Your orders are then to defeat the heinous beast that lurks there.
You look perplexed. Yes, well, I guess if you put it frankly, you are protecting a pack of Yagudo beastmen from a ferocious monster. You see, in order to maintain the peace of their country, the Windurstians have formed an amicable relations with the Yagudo. But as you probably realized, it's hard to call their relationship amicable when you witness the outrageous behavior of the Yagudo. But in order to maintain the trust of Windurst, we have to participate in this preposterousness. Well, good luck with your mission. I look forward to hearing of your success. Alright, so that's going to give us our key item that we'll need in order to trigger the fight. Now, unfortunately, I will say this. This area right here is on the literal opposite side of the Windurst map from the Heavens Tower. Like, if I go north, it'll take me into the waters, and then I'd have to go through two small zones, and then east into walls. My other option is to go back to woods and then go north from there, which is exactly what I'm gonna do. Let's see. Let's go this way. Yeah, and then we go north into the walls, and that will do the trick. No peace. I thought for sure I would not be interrupted if I waited until the evening to do it. Because I could have done this earlier. And I was like, I'll wait till the evening. I'll wait till the late evening to get this done. And, yeah, still interrupted. There's no peace. There's no peace. Well, I mean, I'm going to say that here in 11 especially. There's never any peace, despite the very peaceful music of Windurst. Trust me when I say, there is no peace. Why is it so quiet? Is there a cutscene here? It's a skip. I don't remember what Windurst walls would have. Oh, no, yeah, no. That's definitely a later class. I forgot that was going to be triggered entirely. So, I think I've mentioned... Yeah, I did mention this before. So, one of the add-on scenarios, I believe I mentioned a Crystalline Prophecy when we zoned into Juno. One of them is a Shantoto Ascension. Many people who don't even play 11 still know who Shantoto is. She's featured in the Dissidia game, specifically in Duodecim, NT, and Defu, which is, you know, not a thing anymore. And she has her own little $10 mini expansion that takes like a few hours to get through. And doesn't really have any good rewards nowadays, but, you know, just to complete it for the sake of completing it, I guess. So we're going to grab that home point. I think we'll have time to grab one. Well, I think we'll walk right past another home point on the way to Heaven's Tower. Yeah, it's unmissable. And that is Heaven's Tower. I'm not... So obviously, there's some people watching this who are also just 14 players who aren't really going to get into 11, and so they're using this as kind of their, like, kind of peek, like, their way to peek into what Final Fantasy 11 is like. I would not be surprised to see Windurst be kind of the equivalent. So, in the first raid series in Final Fantasy 14 that crosses over to 11's content and world, we obviously have Juno, and it's Dynamis Juno. I would actually not be surprised to see them start in Windurst for one of them, just for the walk up to Heaven's Tower. Heaven's Tower is a pretty iconic location, especially for people who started in Windurst. It's got a really nice theme too, as you'll hear in a minute. And I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they will, but given that we're just kind of teleporting all over the place in that story, it's not entirely unfeasible. Yeah, if you don't even actually walk in, you like teleport in. And now that we are in here, we go through here. Another trust available here as well. Although I think we might have... well, we got the Halver Cipher. I think we also got this one, don't we? Mr. Platsay, is it? I have received a report of your mission. You are the adventurer from Bastok who will be helping us today. The Yakudo and Giddeus have a problem. A terrible monster has appeared deep within their caves. Your mission is to travel all the way to Giddeus and help the Yakudo rid themselves of the beast. Here is the key you will need to get into the deeper, weeper parts of the Yakudo dwellings. Giddeus is a scary, weary place. You would never catch me going there. Well, have a nice trip. Hello, Simi. Simi is actually a pretty decent trust. You'll be fine. I'll give you the... Oh, no, you get Simi's first here. Yeah, if you're not sure what to do with it, visit one of the Juno Institute of Magical Study representatives located in South Sandoria. They can get you... Why would I go to South Sandoria? Why wouldn't I go... Why wouldn't you point me to the one in Windurst? I can sense many good things within you. Let's see how you manage with this new task. Yeah, Kupipi has one too, and it's, they're not that bad of a healer. Not really worth going out of my way for. But Simi's is actually pretty decent. I still use Semi occasionally, even on my max level character, just to have like a solid ranged option in case you're ever fighting like an enemy that does a lot of damage to anyone who's standing up close. Simi can usually, if you do it correctly, Simi can usually stay away from like the majority of point blank AoEs that enemies do, as long as it's not like a massive AoE. Okay, so we now need to go to Giddeus. And once we are in Giddeus, we will enter the Bulgus Dius. We will go back to Port. Port's the fastest way of the ones I have so far. And then we will walk out to the west. We should be able to just walk north. There's another notorious monster somewhere, like, right around. this bottoms. I don't remember what it is, but I remember there being a notorious. Oh, I think I'm mistaking it for one of the other expansions. I think I'm mistaking it for Wings of the Goddess. I think there's one right out in. Is it west? I don't even know. I don't remember. I remember there being something. Oh, wait a minute. No. Okay. I remember. Yeah, I think it's an item for that. I think what I'm. It might be two different things I'm remembering at the same time. Because there was a rare item that you needed for Voracious Resurgence. And it was it came from Mandragoras. I just don't remember which ones. And it definitely wasn't out here, because these ones are too low of a level, I think. Was it the ones in the past, though? Wings of the Goddess areas in the past. I don't know. We probably won't ever make it that far. Somebody asked me in my weekly Q&A, what is the ultimate goal? The goal is to experience as much of Final Fantasy XI with those of you on YouTube as possible, to either A, provide sort of an opportunity to have someone to play along with, which isn't really as much of a thing nowadays, or to give people a resource on the progression of the retail version of the game, so that they can either A, make informed decisions about their own play, like where they're going, like a pseudo guide in a sense, or B, just to, if they're never going to play, actually understand what's in place from someone who has a lot of experience with it. So that's kind of the ultimate goal. There isn't, like, if I were to, in this series, complete everything, like every story, finish Rhapsodies, and I'd like to do that. Great, maybe at that point we would not do as much. We could consider that kind of like close to the... By the way, I just remembered as I'm recording this, I need to hit up Garrett and Kyle. Garrett and Kyle wanted me to walk them through Final Fantasy XI, do some streams with them for it. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Just thinking about like scheduling right now with 7.2 so close, but I definitely got to poke them about it because they are going to hate this. No, I don't know that. I don't know if they'll hate it. I'd be lying if I said I thought they'd love it, but I also don't know their experience. So Garrett and Kyle, we've done podcasts with them before at the Grinding Gear. Every time I talk about their name, I say the Grinding Gear guys. Everyone's like Path of Exile, and I'm like, don't worry. I think the same thing on occasion, but no, not that. No, we've done some State of the Realms with them. I've been on their podcast as well, and they had mentioned wanting to do Final Fantasy XI. So there may even be an 11 video of just kind of like highlights of me walking them through the experience, because it's probably going to be a time. Let's just put it that way. It will probably be, and I quote, a time. Fortunately, we should finish 2-3 in this video, so I won't have to fill the air with random tidbits like that for too much longer. Giddeus can be I'll say quite confusing for a new player. You will probably want a guide to poke you about where you actually need to go, because the traditional one, which I have pulled up as a resource over on the BG Wiki, the Bestock 2-3 mission, does not really inform you about how to get around Giddeus. You will eventually figure it out out of just sheer willpower, but it's a very strange place to navigate. Palborough Mines has the elevator bit, and it does have like some grates in the way, so you have to go around through the cave systems, but I'd say it's not that confusing to navigate. Ghelsba, the path directly to the end is marked, so even if Fort Ghelsba's a tiny bit confusing, I would be seldom to say you would get lost for very long, if at all, going through Ghelsba, unless you deliberately strayed off of the path. Whereas Giddeus, you'll effectively have to, if you've never been through it before and you're not using this as a resource, you might actually have to just fail to find your way through a few times and just accept that it may take you a little bit longer. I hope I remember exactly what to do. I'll know if I'm right or wrong really quick. I'm just trying to remember how I start running through. So, like, effectively, there's a place where we have to fall through a hole in the ground, and that will lead to a path that then travels upward. And yes, I know I walked through the zone again. Listen, once I'm talking to you, I just don't think about mounting up. I apologize. I should apologize to myself because it's after 10 p.m. right now. And all I'm doing is making it so that I won't get to bed any faster. I don't think anyone watching particularly cares. Like, no, it's like, it's going to be a running joke at some point that my raptor is like left in the stable somewhere. Like, why doesn't he love me? Raptor noises. What is that? That's something like that? No, it's more like a pterodactyl. That's a pterodactyl noises. So I think you can go right. See, one of these leads immediately to where we would have needed to go if we had done the first quest. If we had come here before Sandoria and then had to travel to Sandoria second. Which I'm not going to lie, in retrospect, I kind of recommend you do that. Because the spot, I mean, you are going to need to go to the Balgus Dias anyway. Or Balgus Possessive Dias. You'll just end up there no matter what sooner or later, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But if you're looking for the fastest completion, it's a little more intuitive to get to the location for the quest than it is to get the Balgus Dias. This is either the cave that leads to the quest, or it's the cave that leads to Balgus Dias. I don't remember which it is. In my brain, this is the correct way, because I am making that up with no measurement. Honestly, if I had the map, I could tell. I remember the shape of the map. I just don't remember if this is the direction to where I need to go in that part of the shape of the map. That didn't make any sense. So I think if you go down this way, that leads to the other NMs that I need. In fact, I'm going to do this to check. I think they're actually down below on another map. Yeah, they are. Whereas I think if we tuck over this way and go left and then drop down here, I'm almost certain this is the correct way. And then there should be a pathway that leads up. Yep, I got it. See? I told you. I still got it. Alright. Check my phone real quick because I saw it light up. Yeah, so follow that path. That'll get you here. It's the other way that would have led immediately to the quests. If I had gone down that other path, it would have kind of looped back around. But, yeah, so Balgus Dias has a bit of verticality to it, where there's this lower area. And this lower area is, I think, actually where I do need to go. But it's not where I wanted to take you first. So right here is actually a location where there's tons of Yagudos. But there's several Bard-based Yagudos here. And those are placeholders for a notorious monster that drops a pretty good item, in all honesty. It's a horn, and I believe it increases the ability to land sleep. No, that was Mary's. Is this the... This isn't the ballad. No, this one might also do that. I don't remember the stats, but this was a really good horn. It was like 300,000 gil back in the day. So this basically used to be camped non-stop. And if you were doing the Kazam key quests that I mentioned in the previous part, you would also potentially have come over here into this side, because that hut over there has the higher level monsters that you would need for that. There is also sometimes a notorious monster that hides right here. We don't want to drop down that way, I'm pretty sure, because I do not believe that leads to Giddeus. I know for a fact that this doesn't lead to Giddeus, though. This over here. This votary, right here. Yeah, this is a mod that would drop one of the keys to Kazam. And then back here, I believe is just another bunch of the same thing. But I'm mostly sure that none of this leads to Giddeus. Or it does, and I just totally have forgotten. It's entirely possible, too. I just remember, like, coming this way just to kill the mobs, and then I just remember... You know what, though? I'm remembering a little bit more. Yeah. No, this is it. Yeah, there's, like, a little oasis back here, and you can kill Theologists and Wasps. And, yeah, this isn't the way there at all. There's another quest that happens here, and I'm trying to remember what it is. At least I... But, yeah, this isn't the way to Giddeus. But it also doesn't... I'm trying to remember what the point of this place was. I just remember coming here to get my Kazam keys. Because all of the mobs here are the highest level mobs in the zone. And thus, those are the mobs you need for the Giddeus key for Kazam. So this is what that spot is for. What we need to do is we need to go back to that first ledge, drop off there, and run to the far end. And that is going to have our path to Giddeus. I'm sorry, to Giddeus. Through Giddeus to Balgastias. Listen, like I said, it's my old man sleep time. Alright? Normally, I'm taking a melatonin and winding down right now. But I actually have them. I have them now. I bought... So, for Monster Hunter Wild's release, I didn't really intend to wake up at 3 a.m. for the New Zealand release schedule. But I ended up doing that. And so I quickly ran out and bought some melatonin. And now I just have, like, I have a whole bunch because I bought the whole container with the intent to, only really the need to use it once. So I just take 5 milligram melatonin and I am assisted in my sleep. That is an adequate descriptor. I am assisted. I took 10 milligrams that day. When I take 10 milligrams, I actually feel like I sleep worse with melatonin. I'm not going to lie. 5 milligrams, it just kind of... whatever I get. It's the funny thing is the 5 milligrams. It's almost like I just take like, I get this nice little gummy treat before I go to bed. When I take 10, it's like, I get 2 gummy treats, and I think it's because I snore more with melatonin or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna drop off here. If you wanted to get back up to that spot, there is like a cave. If I were to turn around and go the opposite way of where I'm going right now. There's another cave that effectively takes you back to exactly that same drop point that I found. So if you ever accidentally walk off like that, and you need to get back, that's how you would do it. There is a notorious monster up. I don't remember much about this notorious monster. That's where we need to go. Over there. I'm going to go quickly poke the bear over here. What do you do again? Ku Zijo the Illusory. I don't remember what you do. You're a ninja. Oh, God, he's a ninja. I don't know how dangerous Mijin Gakure is at this level, but I'd rather not find out. So I'm going to go stand over here, and I'm going to let them kill that. I don't know if he has. I mean, he should have it, even at this level. Again, I just don't know how threatening it is. I don't know if it's going to do, like, at this level, it really shouldn't, even if he does it, it really shouldn't be that dangerous. In theory, but, like, why risk it? If he kills them all, I'll finish them all. Because, like, he's doing, like, no damage to them anyway, so even if he does blow up. And he didn't even give me anything. That was a vanquish. I got 5,000 EXP from that. Sweet. I leveled up. I got to level 35. I'll take it. It's one less level I need to grind out separately. I ain't gonna say no. Okay, remember when I mentioned the home point in the Ugat Grotto? That would have been right outside Horley's Peak. This is the equivalent one. That's how you know you're right outside Balgastias. Grab that. Do not forget it. You will be coming back here again. Especially if you play long term. Alright. and let us do the last part of this mission. And sometimes you will talk to the Burning Circle, and it will take 8 billion years for anything to happen. And also get very used to this and many other boss musics. Hello, Simi.
I'm so glad you could come.
That's what she said.
I didn't realize that little rumor I spread would be so effective. Yes, I'm the ferocious monster you were told about. One who will rally the beastmen hordes on a grand campaign to rid the world of you and your kind.
Rally the beastmen hordes. Almost sounds as if you're planning to wage another crystal war.
I see you catch on quick. The day of reckoning will come, and the beastmen will be the one to rule this world. Not that you'll be there to see it, because you'll already be dead. Rise, worm of darkness, devourer of light. I command you, smite my enemies where they stand. Spatial distortion. That could only mean...
Dragon? Phew. I knew I couldn't have... I knew it couldn't have been old you-know-who. I was getting carried away there. Shoot him square in the face. Is that all you can muster? Your pet dragon? Here comes the reinforcements. Looks like they'll have to handle this. I have more pressing matters than dealing with the likes of these. I leave it in their hands. Just pieces. That's it. NPC's just pieces. Like, nah, I'm not doing this. This is a grunt war. It's a pretty brave thing to just look at someone you met like 5 minutes ago. Like, they met me just before I came out, and they're like, I think they got it. Might be a little green around the gills, but no, I think they got it. Alright, so yep, this is the level 25 mission. We have to kill the Searcher, and we have to kill the Dragon. Keep in mind, they will do something very annoying, and they will pull you in. So you will get teleported around potentially a little bit here. Now, I highly recommend going for the Searcher first. The main reason being is it can cast Sleepka. And if it casts Sleepka, that sucks. Fortunately, Uriel Blade does work here. So, yeah, he'll be dead, and then the Dragon right after. Honestly, the Dragon does have maybe one dangerous move. I think it's like an AoE stomp. But you don't care. Trust me, it's not gonna happen. I'm not even gonna get to weapon skill, so I might as well just sneak attack, to be honest. If I had an interesting 2-hour skill, I would use that, but I don't. Like, if I was a monk, I would 100 Fist here, but it's not like it matters. Bam and bam. Even if you're level 25 doing this with Trust, they'll mow through it. Like, at level 30, it basically is a non-issue. But yeah.
This cannot be! Me defeated by these weaklings!
Oops, I guess I missed the show. Hey, wait a minute. This dragon. No doubt about it. It's another beast from the Northlands. What's it doing here? Their kind haven't been seen since the Shadow Lord was destroyed and the Northland sealed. You see one here with the beastmen. It's as if the Shadow Lord will soon be brought back to this world. I was merely making preparations for his return. What? Who are you? I am Searcher, servant of the Shadow Lord. The great hero that saved you 20 years ago is gone. None have the power to defeat him now. While your people were busy squabbling with each other, we have been preparing for his return. And when he comes, he will destroy you all. Enjoy your lives while they last, foolish weaklings. The Shadow Lord is coming back. There's going to be another war. Days to be filled with hatred and sorrow once more. Pletze, you should head back to your country. And don't forget to report what happened here. It's true that the Shadow Lord is being resurrected. We can expect great trouble to follow. I've got to get going. I hope to see you around someday, Pletze. All right, and that is mission 2-3. We have one last thing to... I didn't buy the warp ring before coming out. Okay, so one thing you should do before coming out here is buy the warp ring, because ideally, you will always have that. The main reason is because after you finish any BCNM, and keep in mind there is some leeway, some of them do work differently. I'm just kind of generalizing here. You will be kicked out in a location that does not allow you to quickly return to that spot. And I'll be frank, Giddeus is probably the worst of them, because it boots you out all the way at the bottom of Western Saruta Bruna. Now, it is relatively close. Why am I fleeing instead of mounting? It doesn't matter. It is relatively close to Windurst itself, so it could be worse. In this particular case, it's largely okay. But, you know, if I had a warp ring, I'd be back in Bastok right now, and we could turn in the quest. But I'm stupid, so here we are. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, surely he's going to buy the warp ring before the end of the video. Am I, though? Have you watched this series long enough to realize that's not that likely to happen? Especially because it's 10:17 right now. An hour and 20 minutes into the recording. Fun. At least I know this is done. And I have time to get more of it done throughout the week. Yeah, so we don't even need to go back to the Consulate here. We just need to go straight back to the Metalworks. And then briefly speak to Naji, and we will get to rank 3. And we can also trade in the crystals, I guess, which will instantly take us to the max. We will have to do 3-1. You can skip 3-2 again, but the 3-3 mission is a very important one. Generally speaking, the third mission is the second or third. It depends on the rank, because I think the rank 5 only has 2 missions, and they're both mandatory. Oh, do I actually... Wait. Head back... Oh, no, I do need to speak to Melik. She said head back to your country. No, I'm stupid. I do need to do that. I'm just in such a rush to get it done that I'm dumb. Fortunately, Port Windurst, it is very close to a home point. Now that we've started to collect home points, at least going around is relatively quick. Yeah, so the warp ring, I guess, wouldn't have saved too much time. It's funny because I zoned into the port to teleport out. So it was like I was literally right there, too. Listen, old man brain. I'm thirsty and I need my sleep. I need my rest. All right. I don't think the Melik or Naji has much to say here. Oh, Shadow Lord. Wait a moment. I need you to rush back to the homeland. Wait a moment. I'll need you to rush back. Well, I mean, she's giving me a letter. You understand what you must do. Take this report to the president's office in Bastok. On your way. Please hurry to Bastok. Yeah, see? It's like a 2-second cutscene. Now I go back. Oh, Mr. Shadow Lord. I gotta pull out all the lines from the Final Fantasy 14 version, which, if you haven't heard, he's a bit of a yapper. Oh, I never told the Synergy Furnace cutscene. So I'm doing a platinum in all cutscene story. Dude, I literally can't speak right now. I'm doing I think the platinum every Final Fantasy game on PlayStation, some of which are ridiculous, and honestly, it'll be a shock to me if I even get to them. But Final Fantasy XI does not have a Platinum Trophy. However, it was available on Xbox for some years. And while it was on Xbox, it did have achievements. So while there's no technical Platinum, there are a list of achievements that I could technically do or make sure that I have all done across my characters. And kind of do a pseudo one. And one of them is to level a crafter to 100, and I was wondering if synergy worked for that. But it's not like I could find out reliably anyway. Well, you've been to Sandoria and Windurst already? Let me escort you to the president's office. So how was it? The orcs in Ghelsba, the Yagado and Giddeus give you any trouble? Man, I envy you. I'm a Mithril Musketeer, but all they make me do is stand guard at the door. Captain Volker and Iron Eater get all the good missions, and Yame always puts me down. I'm a Mithril Musketeer, the cream of the crop. Why do I have to do guard duty? It's just not fair. And perhaps I should order you to sweep the Quadev from Palabro, single-handedly. Mr. President! Go back to your post, Naji. That is an order. Report. What have you learned of Windurst and Sandoria? Oh, did you have a pleasant trip then? But do not mock me. Tell me of the other nations. You mean that someone is leading the Beastmen hordes then? Lucius, speak with Volker about this and come back when you have a plan to deal with the situation. Do not forget to watch the Quadev. I have spared you all the time I can. Lucius, stay and see what sense you can make of this. And do spare me all the trivial details when you report to me. And tell me more of what you have learned about the Beastmen, please. It does seem like there is someone controlling their movements. But who could be powerful enough to unite those unruly hordes? Good work. We will probably ask you to undertake another important mission in a few days. The President, despite his harsh words, values you highly. We'll expect you to do as well. We'll expect you to do well. As do I. And there you go, rank 4, 3,000 gil, and my adventuring certificate. Really quick, let's trade some crystals. I think, do we trade them to you? Do I need to trade them to you? Oh no, he won't take them. Marduk will give me the mission. And I don't think you trade them to Naji. I think I need to trade them to an NPC that's not here, actually. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Marduk will give us the quest, so it won't actually matter anyway. And no, I'm not going to go grab the Warp Ring. That would be at the Conquest NPC, which is actually where I would need to go to turn in the crystals anyway. But it is getting late for me, so I am going to wrap things up for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed our little trek through Mission 2-3. Mission 3-1 will actually have us going out and killing a few monsters. I believe 20 monsters, if I'm not mistaken. So that should be a fun-filled little adventure that we have to go on. There's some other things I could do while I'm in that location, and we may just do them just to save time later. But we'll see. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you are enjoying the Final Fantasy XI Let's Play. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, I bid you adieu. Bye-bye.